Test, test. Test, test. I'm not sure if this work is it working. Test. Okay. Yeah, it just hello. It goes out. Let's see what else can do. Maybe this. Oh, yeah, gotcha. Hello, hello. That's better, right? Okay. Hello. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, Carol. See? Test, test. Okay.
Turning down the air to 70. No, it definitely feels better.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How are you?
Okay. Yeah, put it right here.
That is so funny. Yeah. Remind people to be lighthearted.
Hey, what's up? I invited my friend. Hmm.
Yeah. They're just, it's on the right hand side. Right hand side. Just sit there. I did think I was lower. I was just kind of seeing your little head going like this. I was like, okay. Just this. I'm at the kids' table. Well, we were all so anxious to get
All righty, let's go ahead and get started. Let's do the pledge. The pledge allegiance. Roll call, please.
Even elves. Elves deserve justice. Councilmember Hartle.
Present.
Councilmember Morgan Alley.
Here.
Councilmember Lay.
Present.
Vice Mayor Womack.
Present.
Mayor Weincoop.
Here. All righty. Would you like to do our prayer for us tonight, Edward? Thank you.
Let's pray. Almighty, never-ending God, we do well always and never ready to give thanks and praise and respect and grace to the gift of this night, this space, this gathering of people, elected officials, apostles, and participants in the life of this community. For us, Lord, we pray a blessing upon each and every person here, each every family, each and every one of those who give us and serve and serve. Always, Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Edward. All right, let's move on. First, I want to do our library representative director. It's a volunteer position, and we were able to find a really nice candidate for this. She lives on 3rd Street, and her name is Elsky Palmer. And I'm not sure if anybody wants to add to that, but we feel that she's the right candidate to represent us. This person would go to the county meetings with the library system and help us with funding and other things we need to know about. So she's going to be dedicating her time to do this for probably at least a year. It's a pretty important job for Montverde, especially with our new library. But I want to put her on the table to nominate her for this position. Does anybody want to talk about it? You guys? Just need a motion.
I'm happy to have her.
I'll make a motion that Elsie Palmer is our director of library system for us, representing us. I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And say nay. Okay, we'll move on to the next task is to appoint someone to the Planning and Zoning Board. And if it's okay with the council, I was going to ask the folks that are applying for it one at a time to get up and talk to the council a little bit. And, you know, tell us just who you are, how you feel, you know, what you'd like to do. How about Aaron? Would you like to go first?
Aaron Wadsworth, 17647 9th Street, Montverde. Been our resident for about 3 years. Very interested in the success of the town. I grew up in a very small town in another state. Very used to the community here. There's a reason I moved to Montverde, specifically because of what it is. And I'd love to stay, keep us going in the direction we're going. We need to be able to account for growth and control things, but at the same time, we need to keep Montverde Montverde. So that's why I wanted to be part of this.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. Come on up. Matthew is going to come up, and he's also a candidate.
Matthew Donald, I'm from Field Wall Street, Western Florida. I enjoy public service. I serve on the local government. My wife's family is from Montverde, and also from Western Town. And we plan to eventually move back to Montverde. I've also served on planning and zoning boards in the past, as well as city council development, so I'm really also part of the position. And we try to be invested in the be present where I can be. We appreciate this opportunity. I think it's a very, it's a lacking quality in the county. So we see our preserves as much as possible. I'm happy to work towards that goal. And I think the Massachusetts team is working.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matthew. And last, John, if you want, John?
John Keys, 161 Washington Drive. Been living in Montverde for 20 years. Watched it grow. And I would just like to use my skills as an engineer, technical skills, to make sure we can follow all the rules and take care of business as well as grow as best we can.
All righty, thank you very much, John. All righty, and I'll bring it to the council to discuss it, and then we'll make a vote on one candidate. I want to add that obviously there's only one position. The people that don't make it, things change often. So if you don't get on this time around, please stay hang in there and let's try again. And the council changes and planning zoning changes. It's constantly changing, but that's it. Yep. No, we don't on this topic. Yeah. But thank you very much for offering. All righty. Guys, I want to talk about it.
I see 3 good candidates, and I have not made a mind up on it.
It,
Somebody else, please convince me.
it is a difficult choice.
Speak into your mics, please.
Yeah.
Matthew, how long have you been here? How long have you lived in Montverde? Oh, that's, good one. And, Aaron, how?
3 years.
And then I think Mr. Keys had a 20.
I've had extensive conversations with Aaron in the past, and he's actually been really solid as to what he feels for this town.
Well, it's not an easy choice. You
Right.
know, and I'll echo what Mayor Joe said, that it's obviously it's one position. So for the 2 that aren't selected, come back around. You know, don't quit. Come back around.
Alan, do you want to say anything?
I think what's been said is what I agree with, especially what Jim said.
All right. Anything?
You want me to make a recommendation?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay, if I had to say it ranking, the only thing that Matthew has against him is he's not currently a resident. I mean, but you did grow up here, right? Oh, okay. But, that's the only thing that I'd have to say negative on.
But you have ties back to Montverde, right?
Yeah.
But Matthew is one of those faces you see here all the time.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he
is.
is.
He's here all the time.
Okay.
So's Aaron. I'm just
Yeah.
going to say that too.
He's consistent,
You know,
and he has experience in the government.
Do you want a motion? I'll make a motion for Aaron.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. We need a second.
Second,
Okay, let's do a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Can't say nay. Well, I guess you're not saying aye, right?
I know, but I'm not gonna vote against him.
Okay. Okay, well, all right, well, we got two, it's yea or nay.
Let us pass it.
Motion would.
Huh?
You need my vote to pass it?
Yeah, well, if you vote, then there's 2 right now. So if you say yes, then he goes in. If you say no, then we keep going for somebody else.
Did you all say no?
I didn't yet.
Can we do a roll call vote?
Okay.
Just because it's hard to tell
That
who's
might be a
voted
better
and who's
idea.
not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That helps. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Hartle,
Yes.
Councilmember Morganelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Lay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Womack,
yes.
Mayor Wynkoop.
I'll have to be a no because that's the only way we should vote. 4-1, you won. Alrighty, so there we go. Sorry, John, sorry, Matthew, but please, please, please show back up and please get involved. We really appreciate it.
And if I could, Mayor, if I could ask our new planning and zoning member to see the town clerk to pick up your packet tonight, because you'll be sworn in at the meeting tomorrow. We have a full agenda. Wonderful. But if you could grab the stuff from her, thank you.
All right, well, let's move on then. Okay, if you would please, Anita, ordinance 2024-39.
Are we going
The
to
public
have
comment?
public comment and reports first?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. I'm trying to speed the meeting up. Okay, let's go, minutes. We need a vote for the minutes for November 12th, 2024. Any comments? For minutes?
Yeah, the public comments are next on the agenda,
all
Mayor.
right. Oh, you want to do that too? All right,
Come
let's
on
do
down.
that first. Anybody has something they want to talk about the council that's not on the agenda? I was hoping I could skip by that and you wouldn't realize it. All right.
My name's Randy Elman, 16603 Lowry Road, and I've lived here going on 40 years. I have one question and then I have a couple of comments. What happened to the $3.6 million you said was a slam dunk?
Well, now we're actually, that's on the agenda.
Well, not the $3.6 million.
It is.
The $1.3 million.
No, it's part of the 1.3 conversation.
That is available to the town, but the town, you will address that will be addressed
Yeah,
a little bit later.
it's coming up on that
Yeah.
one. That's already on the agenda.
Yeah.
But it's going to be real quick, don't worry.
Okay, here's my comment. Appreciate everybody and all their service. This has been a pretty rough year. And, you know, this is Christmas, so I thought instead of just rehashing everything, I thought I would just like to make a couple comments. One, we lost trust this year, and so I would ask the council and the town manager that you would work on next year rebuilding the trust. You did rebuild some of it when you axed the sewer treatment plant, which I think the majority of the people thought was a good thing. But I still think, you know, we lost trust in it this year. So I ask that you would work on that next year. The next, number two, was I would ask the council to be more involved. I know you probably think we don't realize all the work you do, but, you know, I would like you to be involved in the agenda and not just Paul setting the thing or at least looking like he just sets it and that's the way we go. And also be more involved with choosing who we use as contractors or subcontractors. I think I represent a lot of people. I'm not real happy with this engineer. I think we've been lied to from him, and I think we ought to put some of this stuff out to bid. I think that's, so, let's work together. This is a great town. I've lived here for a long time, and let's work to build our trust back. And, you know, I'd like the council and the mayor, I know the mayor does a lot of it, but the council to be more interactive with Paul and to have that, you know, flowing instead of, it seems to me, and it seems to a lot of residents that I speak to, that there's not an ebb and flow. So I would ask the council, you know, to let's turn a new leaf and make Montverde, you know, better than it ever was. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. All righty. Anybody else like to talk to the council about something that's not on the agenda?
I'm Pam Cox, and I live on 17705 Broad Street. And I just wanted to remind everybody tonight that tomorrow night at 6:30, they're having a meeting for the company that's going to be in charge of the property across the street from my house. And in case somebody here is not aware, there's going to be a meeting tomorrow night. Please come tomorrow night to that meeting. Thank you.
You're welcome. All righty. Anybody else like to talk to the council?
for a state amendment that was not passed. Is that all right?
Say it again?
I would like to start advocacy for a amendment that was not passed in the Florida Constitution. It's a petition that I started to reevaluate and re-vote on it.
Can we vote on it?
Yes.
What is it?
Make your presentation.
Amendment 4.
I'm not familiar with it.
I have a little feature in it, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so like I said, I'm here to advocate for the reevaluation of Amendment 4 in the Florida Constitution. To begin, I want to start with a story. However, I would like to give a brief warning that it does have some sensitive material as in sexual assault, which is kind of relating to the amendment, which is on abortion. My friend, which was 14 years old, was unfortunately assaulted. And she was also unfortunately given a pregnancy scare, and with that, she didn't think about getting justice with her assaulter or getting help. Instead, she was thinking about the abortion ban in Florida, which currently is 6 weeks. And even with tragic events, there are exceptions in this law saying that rape is an exception. However, you need documented proof from the police. My friend wasn't in the position of power where she could have reported to the police. In fact, if she would have, her family wouldn't have been financially stable. I won't get too into her story because it is her personal story to share, and I got permission to share very brief details about it, and I don't want to do too much. But the overall story is that this case isn't isolated. There's many survivors of assault that face impossible choices because of restrictive abortion laws. Even with exceptions, they're required to prove that they can't survive. This is why Amendment 4 is so crucial. I'll read you directly what it says. No law shall prohibit, delay, or restrict abortion before viability, or when necessary to protect the patient's health, as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. This amendment does not change the authority, the constitutional authority to require notification to a parent or guardian if a minor has an abortion. This language protects individual rights while maintaining reasonable safeguards, like guardian notification for minors. It respects medical science for viability, which is around 20 to 24 weeks, dependent on the healthcare provider, when the fetus can survive outside the woman as its threshold. Before viability, the fetus is entirely dependent on its person caregiving. Decisions about abortions belong to the healthcare professional and the patient, not politicians. I know one city council meeting definitely won't give me enough signatures to change the Florida amendment, but it definitely is a start. And I feel that it wasn't about just abortion. It was about fairness, autonomy, and ensuring everyone has the right to decisions for their bodies. Access to abortion care isn't just a woman's issue anymore or a political issue. It's about their rights and their human rights. It's about ensuring that many people that face impossible decisions every day get the care they need. And if you'd like to sign my petition, I do have a QR code and a couple flyers if I could hand them out if anyone wants them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, anybody else like to talk to the council on stuff that's not on the agenda? You mean going under the bridge, right? Under the turnpike?
Right now, it terminates about 30 or 40 feet before the turnpike.
Right.
We don't even know how it
Right, I've seen the diagram, and there's a sidewalk on one side and a bike path on the other. They're separating them when they finish underneath, though.
Okay, so that the side with the bike path is planned to
keep going on that side,
Okay.
and then the sidewalk's on the other side.
Okay, very good. Because the guy that I talked to in construction didn't.
Yeah, no, that, you can go on the Turnpike, website and find it.
I did, I didn't see the plans.
Then call the number that's on there, and they'll direct you how to get to that.
Okay.
Because I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Lance, you want to come up?
Everybody, good evening. Lance Felger, 17720 Virginia Circle.
You can pick it up. Yeah, there you go. Pick it up, pick it up.
Tall guy.
Throw it at him,
What
Lance.
Freddie Mercury used to do, he used to take the whole thing out.
Yeah, dance around.
Throw it at him, Lance.
There you go.
I was privileged, anybody who's in town back on Friday, June the 14th, when the Coast Guard helicopter made an emergency landing here in town, it was quite a sight. And I was honored to receive a letter from them, but I wanted to share it with people because I wasn't the only one that did inform. And this is from Captain Phi, Phy, of U.S. Coast Guard Station Clearwater. And if anybody knows about the situation, the incident, it could have been very serious. One of their, I will hit on the letter a little bit. I'd like to personally thank you for your assistance with the MH-60T helicopter, which is commonly known as a Jayhawk, is a rescue helicopter. Anybody who's been in Florida for any years of time, has ever gone to a beach, has seen the big white and orange, not only the aircraft but the ships, they're familiar with them. That is from Air Station Clearwater, and wound up making an emergency landing over here. Could have been a very serious situation. They managed to bring it down, and what the captain is doing is expressing gratitude, is that your quick response made repairs and recovery very easy, but the actions of the neighborhood and the community, everybody, was so much appreciated by these Coast Guardsmen, because the morning it sat down at 8:30 and looking out the garage, I said, wait, they can't park that thing there. And I had the privilege of having 7 airmen, visit the house and get them acclimated. They landed on the property, and all got to be quite interesting. But they are very appreciative of what happened. They all wound up going to Willie's for lunch. All during the 32 hours they were sitting on the property, people brought them Gatorade, brought them soft drinks, ice cream, Chick-fil-A, and all that, and it was very much appreciated. And he closed with, like I say, well, that is sort of kind of to me, and that's selfish reading. It's the community and the neighborhood that did all the work, and appreciate people who are committed to the men and women of Air Station Clearwater. Very much appreciate your generosity and steadfast support of the United States Coast Guard. So everybody in town will give a hand for that. And everybody in town needs to realize the Coast Guard has been an unappreciated member of our armed services for many years. And I'm glad to see in the last 2 or 3 decades that appreciation has increased. A lot of people don't know it or not aware of it. The D-Day landings, it was Coast Guard that drove those Higgins boats back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in Normandy beaches. The famous PBR street gang in Vietnam, the river patrol boats, Coast Guard. So pay attention to our Coast Guard. Any members of the Coast Guard and know any family members, very much appreciated. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Maybe we could, because they've been calling this now U.S. Coast Guard Air Station Montverde, so maybe we need to look at putting a pad in someplace for them. Who do I talk to? Planning and zoning, talk to that?
Hey, Lance,
Coast Guard system.
how much candy did Patty give to them? She's always giving that out, so.
Oh, yeah, constantly. It was an interesting 32 hours.
I'd like to see the look on the cows' faces when the helicopter was coming down.
Funny part about it is, sorry folks, but it's a fun thing. The men come up and they had to take the boom apart with the tail rotor on the helicopter. That was what was damaged in the incident in the air. Oh, it was, anyhow. And they had to run a lift to raise them up because it was 15 feet off the ground. And I told the guys, I said, look, there's about 40 head of cattle back here. But I said, but this time it ended all chilling back by the lake in shade. But about evening time, they come up and go for a walk. Well, these guys worked until late Friday night, until 9 o'clock at night. And they're up there on that lift and look down, there's 30 head of cattle looking at them. And one guy, the He's planning on spending the night up there, but all the cows are living in his truck here. Somebody's got to have a bale of hay. And didn't, but it was, they had, for all practical purposes, it could have been a very serious situation for them, and I'm glad it turned out good. And what even a better part about it was, the Coast Guard was en route to Soto County Sheriff's Department for a joint training exercise. As we all know, the Coast Guard lowers the basket to retrieve people from danger. Soto County is going to that trouble now, and so Rhoda Sheriff's Department, that's where they were heading to train the individuals up there. So we got to give them credit for that as well. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Lance. Anybody else? Come on up.
Jim Big, 16549 Lowry Road. A question for Sean. Is the county going to pick up all the hurricane debris that's left over on this road? 455 out here coming in is horrible.
Yeah,
Give us an update on that.
you're the first person to ask about that.
Yeah.
No, it's asked a lot. It's asked a lot. So I'm not, in all candidness, being candid, I'm not happy totally with how the order of the pickup has been done in the county. I think that's been addressed at our staff level. But we had a contractor lined up through FEMA. They were terrible. We actually fired them. We hired somebody new. They had many more trucks available. We actually hired about 5 local contractors. 4 of them worked out. And they have been working, extensively. They're supposed to be working 24/7. I don't know if trucks show up at 2 a.m., but I do know that you can go onto the county website and you can see a map of where they're located currently, and they're in South Lake right now. So I encourage, if you've got a hot spot or question that an area that's looking like it's dangerous in the road, by all means email me, Sean. Sean, you would think I know my address. Sean.parks@lakecountyfl.gov. You can email me there. We'll get out there. They'll give me a little, I hope, would like to think, a little special attention, because it's been a long time. Yeah. Yeah, I think based off number of customers, we should have been a little sooner, and that was my frustration with staff. It's been addressed now. On the other side of this, as I said, a month ago, there is the reality that all of the Southeast was hit with hurricanes. So contractors are, some places in North Carolina are just getting roads now. But it is, yeah.
As long as it's proceeding, all I ask.
Yeah, it is, and if there's a really bad spot, not just a small pile, I promise you we're going to get the small piles too, but if there's a bad spot that I'm not aware of, then you can email me at sean.parks@lakecountyfl.gov. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially, Sean, that area in the cabbage patches, I have it on my notes here to ask you about that. I noticed the 561, 561A, 455 from Howie Arch is kind of our neck of the woods, and it's like Jim said, it's especially the cabbage patch. When I'm going in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, if people aren't noticing used to that road, I'm surprised Station 85 hasn't responded to more calls or something, because it's a lot of that stuff is right beside the road. There's no place for it to go, but.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree, and I wish we had more contractors, but I also wish that some of those hot spots had been addressed earlier. But we're on it now, so.
And Sean, just real quick follow-up, because I talked to some of the contractors and got our done. We were lucky to get our truck here as quick as we did in Montverde. But 80% of their trucks were up in North Carolina, and some of them have ongoing contracts with FEMA where they don't have a choice. They got to go then. They were redirected, obviously, to the Tampa area. So there's just not a lot of trucks available just because of the magnitude of what hit the whole southeast area. So
I appreciate you pointing that out. And I mean, that's a reality. These contractors, too, when Pinellas County, 1.5 million, Broward County, 2 million, they want extra contractors. They'll pay twice as much as we will. It's kind of like I get this a lot, the question about the road work. Why don't you do road work at night so it doesn't block the traffic? Well, we could, but it would be twice or two times more, roughly, to do it at night. Other counties are willing to do it, but it's just hard when you're trying to play catch up on that. So yes, not trying to whine too much. I'm whining a little bit, but I'm with you. I'm sympathetic. I understand, and we're trying to address it as quickly as possible.
The piles are growing too, just so you
And
guys are
yeah,
aware.
that's the other part too. Yeah, the longer I tell them, I said that it's, you know, there's some green added back to that pile now that wasn't green. You know,
But they seem to be
Yeah.
growing.
they get bigger. Yeah.
And if
All
you
right,
wait
let's
too
move
long in
on.
the fire season.
All right, what do we
Yes.
got here? Let's do number 6, discussion on items and review the water tower plans.
You want to do the committee reports first, Mayor?
Yeah, could. We'll do it after this.
I'll try to be quick. I think I want to follow up real quick on the comment that was made up on here. First of all, just, you know, for everybody sitting here and the citizens, I do want to let you know that each and every one of these council members call and talk to me multiple times per week, and we talk about items coming up on the agenda. They have an open book to me, and I just don't think that was a very true statement, what was made off the observation. I think each and every one of you are very involved with what we do, and are constantly working back and forth. And as far as setting the agenda, that's my job description under the town's charter. It's my duty. That's what I do. That's my job description. And we could, yes, sorry.
Are other council members allowed to add something to the agenda?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to kind of just let me know where, if it's a lot of times stuff you want to add, it pops into there, or something you could bring up at the end. Can we work on this? And now that we're through Montverde, we'll start having workshops and start talking about topics to come. There's a lot of things that could be handled administratively that don't necessarily need to come up on an agenda that we could deal with if you have a concern or something. But a lot of times what we like to do is get the information, get the stuff put together, so when we talk about it, there's something factual to discuss. So if you have any issues or
If there's
topics.
something we don't want to talk about, we just take it off the agenda.
Yep.
That's all, as a group.
So, and,
What's that?
Thanks.
And just following up, I've been working with Wardburn and Kern. They were selected through a bidding procedure that's required under state statute that we followed, and through attorney. And honestly, they've done a phenomenal job for this town. They've brought us money. They've been responsive and done everything that the council has asked them to do, and then brought more stuff for you to consider. So I feel very good about them. They have been a great engineer, one of the best I've worked with in my tenure. So following up on my TA reports, I just want to, first of all, start by thanking all of my town hall staff and team, and all the volunteer elves that helped put Christmas together. I really appreciate all the work that you did on that. And I also want to let the council know we have a new staff employee by the name of Melissa. Some of you have met her. Some of you will be meeting her. She is our new utility clerk, focusing on utility billing solely. So if you get a chance, please stop by and say hi to her. As we work to kind of organize public works a little more, I want to let you know Corey is in the process of being trained, and we'll kind of go over to, as a primary focus of this duty, focusing on utilities, utility locates specifically, and utility meter reads and things along that line, along with kind of being in charge of some of the guarding stuff as well. I have a lead service line update. As you recall, a couple meetings ago, we approved to fund the replacement of the 84 lead service lines that we have in town. I just got some new information from our engineers that DEP is giving some new guidance about what is considered lead upstream and not upstream. It's not very clear yet, and they are recommending that we don't do anything because there's a possibility we may not have to replace any of those lead things, because they're giving a new description what lead upstream means and how do you prove you don't have it. So they've recommended that we just hold for a little bit and kind of see as some of these other communities go through, and as we prepare to submit ours, and see if we can possibly not have to do those replacements. So I'll be sitting on that for just a little while to see how that works. I wanted to briefly talk to you about legislative priorities. We work to get legislative appropriations through our members of Congress at the Florida, and through the members of Congress, and every year you kind of put in kind of a wish list to kind of get things. There's kind of a real priority this year on safety, on things that can't be funded by other grants and stuff like that. So one of the things we discussed was putting in a legislative priority which is one the area's council has looked at along 455 in front of the school and the downtown area. For increased lighting, some better crosswalks and signage through there, and sidewalks in that area that would kind of improve the connectivity from downtown, probably up to the Highland area as a priority, legislative priority. I want to see how everybody feels about that. They thought that would be a strong thing to put in to possibly get some funding. Probably looking at a neighborhood of $500,000 to $750,000, and want to see if everybody kind of feels okay with that as a task to put in to try to get some money this year.
Most of this is going to be for pedestrian safety.
Correct.
That's good.
It has to do with the islands that we talked about too.
Yeah.
Going on up the hill, and maybe adding one.
I mean, pedestrian fatality is about an all-time high in Florida.
Yeah, and adding one going up the hill to Ridgewood too, an island that goes around. We talked about that and trying to get maybe the county to give us a couple $1 million too.
Yeah, and
MPO was supposed to do the islands.
Complete streets, but we haven't gotten anywhere with that 2.5 years.
It's on the list.
It's on the list.
It's on the priority list. It's on a dead list.
But you know, council has instructed in the past to look for some opportunities to kind of do a complete streets all the way from Fosgate through downtown in front of the school all the way back to the roundabout. Later, I'm going to discuss how we can possibly fund the section between downtown and Fosgate, and this would possibly be a way to fund the section from downtown to the roundabout as a possibility.
Right, and the money that we just got reallocated can get pushed towards that now.
Correct.
So it's like, there's a lot of money, it's $19 million.
Yeah, that's money. So is everybody okay with me submitting that legislative priority and moving forward with that? It's basically asking for free money. So I'll work on that. If you have any other thoughts or comments, obviously you guys know how to get a hold of me, so please do that. Just a quick update. We are ready to finalize everything for the transfer of the funds and the water tower from the Hills of Montverde and Montverde agreement for the water tank that we're receiving. That'll be built over there at the Butterfly Garden, so that should be executed tomorrow morning. You guys approved that probably 3 months ago. Just taking a little bit of time to get all the legal work, paperwork, and they had to get the funding to us to get that done. So that's ready to go. I wanted to give you a quick update on our consumptive use permit. So we're working on trying to redo our.
Back up a minute. What was the agreement on the impact fees for them for that?
Sure. So they've turned over. We're providing water service to the Hills of Montverde. In exchange, they gave us transferred the contract, which was about $893,000 for the construction and building the materials of a water tank. I believe it was about 90,000 gallon water tank, or 140,000 gallon. Sorry, 140,000 gallon water tank. In addition, they will pay, Pulte is entitled to some reimbursements for the oversized line. They're paying $100,000 of that to Pulte. Then they're paying $100,000 to the town of Montverde for that service. So we'll end up with about $1 million net out of this agreement to provide the water for those 91 homes.
And we agreed to how much in impact fees?
100,000 plus the tank. Correct.
And we got an extra well on the hill.
And yeah, they're transferred in the well on the hill. That's correct. Next is just a quick update on, and sorry, we've been kind of so busy with Montverde. I have a few updates. I'm just about done through them, but I want to give you an update on the conditional use permit. I met with our engineers today to get an update on that. That's why I didn't have a lot of details on some of these things in the agenda, because a lot of it was I had in the meetings today, but I wanted to get that information to you. So we're in the process of renewing our consumptive use permit. It's been ongoing for almost a year now. It's a process to go through that. They require modeling, and you look at past records over the last 20 years, water pumping, to see how much allocations. Right now, the hardest part of it was getting them to accept the water we need in the future for the next 20 years. And I just got information. Our Woodward and Kerr team was able to come to an agreement for where DEP is accepted in St. John's all of our water allocations that we need for the next 20 years. So we put enough water allocations that the town did fully grow with the remaining lots that we had. And so that's one of the biggest hurdles we needed to get through, so we're through that. The last two hurdles, we've also had to submit conservation plans, updated materials that have to start appearing on the website and newsletters. We've taken care of that conservation piece. The last two things that are really outstanding that they're pushing hard back on is they want some firm commitments on irrigation water, of how we're going to get water from the lakes. Our per home water use is very high in Montverde. Naturally, larger lots, you're going to need larger houses, you're going to use more water. So they really are pushing on to give us for us to give a plan for the irrigation. We have not introduced the fact we're going to build $1 million tank. That probably will go a long ways. That was paid for by somebody else. And the other thing they're really pushing back on is the irrigation wells that the towns own for like Apopka Sound, for Willow Ridge. They want those metered and included in our consumptive use permit. They're really on these little small wells. They're really starting to kind of crack down on them. I've been trying to push back on that because it makes no sense for us to run the small wells, but it would be cheaper for us to give them potable. So we're trying to work through that to see if we can get some type of resolution on those two items for the town, and that permit will be hopefully ready for approval. I think our deadline is June for that.
Paul, what did they cap us at, or what were our parameters on our consumptive? Up by 20%, 10%? Did they give us any kind of a on those two items?
Yeah, the 2025 plan, I believe it's 110 gallons per day per household, and we're currently using about 175 is what we're showing. And it's a little tough for a town, Montverde, because it's a per household, so you got these communities that have apartment buildings that don't use any water, but that counts as a per household. So they look at it, across Florida, then they put an average. Everything has to fit into their box. that is what it is, but so, they want us to, that's why they want us to see us make an effort toward, finding some alternative water uses for, low quality water uses for irrigation and things along that line. So I think we're making pretty good progress getting there, and they haven't really required us to do some of the stuff that could really get expensive to show why we need it. So last, I just want to let the council know just a couple of things that you're going to see some construction probably started later in this week or next week on the parking spaces that are going to be installed, 25 or 30 or something like that, 25 or 30 parking spaces on Porter Avenue with that agreement we worked with the school. So they're going to start putting those in now that our Christmas celebration's over. Yes.
They're going to be paved?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll be paved, and there'll be some tree planted islands in those as well. So that was a agreement we worked with the school, so they can both benefit the town and the school here in front of Town Hall. I want to give you an update. If you haven't been on the back side of the building, the bathrooms are moving along nicely. The public bathrooms, I encourage you to take a look at those. It's roughed in, moving along quite quickly, and thank John for all of his work on that. And the Public Works building is all but finished. We just need to put some lights in it, and I think the electrical's done, so that's going good. And Sandy has been working with FEMA, has already had the first visit with them to kind of get our reimbursements for the hurricane. They're going to send a person out to go look at Truscott Park to see. We're going to obviously have a insurance claim for the parts of the boardwalk that was damaged. The tree removal is going to be astronomical to get that done, just because of where it's at and the size of the trees. But Sandy was able to visit with FEMA, and they're going to bring a person out to see about hardening, which hardening may involve kind of a rebuild of that whole entire boardwalk, and that's what I'm hoping we can get to with some FEMA money. So knock on wood, we'll keep you updated on that as we go through the process.
All righty, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, will you roll back to the water allocations for just a moment? Tell me again, what was the time frame? We were approved for how many years?
So we've been operating currently under a 20-year consumptive use permit that is expired now. So they kind of expire. You have to apply as it expires. So you just go on a continued basis till they approve the next one.
So we're good for another 20 years?
Not yet. So we got a lot to do to get there. That's what we're trying to get, a 20-year. They have been giving some communities shorter ones, 10, some 5, the ones that are really growing a lot, because they don't trust the numbers because they're asking for a lot of water. But being how we have our planning and how we do things in Montverde, we should be able to get it, hopefully at 20 years, what the goal is. We don't have to mess with it, because it's very expensive to do these consumptive use permits. I mean, obviously, you know, you approved the budget to do it. It's over $100,000 so far, not including modeling.
Yeah, our CUP's always been 10 years, right? For many years.
Last one was 20. Last one was 20.
Oh, that flew by.
It flies quickly. Sometimes they take a year to two to get them through the process. That's part of it.
Okay, great. And discussion on the water projects, we're going to talk about the 13 million in the water tower as far as the new well, redundant well next to it, a tank, and the new lines that need to be upgraded.
Yeah, I got that in the discussion items after we do the staff reports. I'll definitely go over all that with you.
It's the next one.
Yeah, we still got a few staff reports if you want to do the rest of the staff reports around, and those are the next discussion items, Mayor.
I'm sorry. My thing doesn't have any of that on it.
So section 3 is where we're at.
All right, let's do that. Town of Montverde, we'll do, Anita, do you have anything? All right, and Sean?
Yes, sir. So reporting as your town planner, we continue to get a fair amount, pretty typical of the zoning clearances that are coming in. We had a bunch from Willow Ridge. That's kind of slowed a little bit, but there's still average amount that we're getting through the rest of the town. Tomorrow we'll have a fairly big night for planning and zoning, so we have a couple, three cases, 3 or 4 that are on the agenda for tomorrow night as well.
This is the grant property, and what else?
Osgood.
What else?
The little project over here to the north that nobody talks about, right? Osgood will be, that'll be on the agenda
That
for
should be
tomorrow
interesting.
as well as another zoning and land use request.
What's the third thing?
And then a variance.
Oh, yeah, variance for
Yeah,
the-
so it's actually 4.
Yep.
So that'll be tomorrow night.
Alrighty, great.
So that's it as a staff.
How about our county commissioner?
So as your county commissioner, we continue to work on legislative agenda as well. As Paul and Anita have indicated, it is primarily focused this year at the state level on public safety. That is an emphasis. I want to also emphasize that this is obviously a very conservative, it got even more conservative, Republican-dominated legislature. They're going to be planning on reducing the budget. So there's been a lot of money that's going out the last couple of years. They're going to be reducing the budget this year, for good or bad on that. They're continue to be pro-growth, as a pro-growth overall as a legislature. So in some ways they like the people coming to Florida. We continue to grow. We're anywhere from 8 to 1,000 people per day now come to Florida. That number varies depending upon what month it is. So you continue to be pro-growth, but the good news is that they are somewhat balanced. You have the governor, you have some key people in leadership positions now, like Senate President Ben Albritton, as well as the Commissioner of Agricultural, Commissioner Simpson, that do lament and are very seriously talking about the loss of agricultural lands in Florida, which is depleting at an alarming rate, as Alan knows, in the state, particularly the last few years, as well as their concern over wildlife corridors. So I would expect that some of the money there's still money that could be available for things like the wildlife corridor or painting easements. So we'll look both at the county and for the town at the town level to participate in that, and we're going to have a meeting that's open to everybody, but particularly targeted at the residents of Ferndale, coming up on January 20th. It'll be at, looks like it'll be at the Baptist Church, is the biggest building in Ferndale. Of course, they're very appreciative of the mayor's efforts, the town efforts, the commission's efforts to keep that area in an ISBA for another 20 years protected. We're going to have a workshop out there that'll be open to the public to go over some questions and issues that they have. We also want to present some ideas. There's landowners there that would like to look at easements and protecting those lands in perpetuity from growth. We look at it as the kind of the last area I know in my district as an area that's very important that we protect for the next generation. and they want to do it. And then what's good about this is you actually have some landowners that own sizable amounts of land that are willing and actually interested, because as much as we get concerned about growth, a lot of times is what's happening is people are selling their land to people from up north. So that's how it works. This, I think we're going to try to catch it early, and that's the approach that we're going to start talking about on January 20th in Ferndale. So wanted to let everybody know about that. Jumping around a little bit on you here, but the budget, the county commission, I know real quick.
No, the time on January.
Oh,
Is it time?
I'm not sure. I'll make sure. I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be
Well,
probably.
we'll have council before that.
It'll probably be about 6. Yeah, I would imagine. We'll get the word out on it. So, I thought you wanted me to hurry up. I'm in politician mode. I could just go whenever, for hour, right? No. We, from a budget standpoint, we did allocate for the third year in a row now, from the county commission, a percentage of property tax budget, finally to go back to roads. So we're up to about, we're supposed to be up to 4%. We're a little bit less of our general fund going towards roads. We had never done that in the last 50 years up until about 3 years ago. Because remember, roads are only paid by impact fees, and your gas tax is resurfacing, but it doesn't cover it's the math isn't right on it. We're not going to. It's so hard to catch up on that. So this was a good part on the county commission. I hope the rest of my county commissioners will allocate up to 8% in the coming year of general fund money and showing fiscal discipline to not spend on other things, but on the roads. And I think we'll see a focus there as well. And I say all that because we'll start looking at some of those road projects again come the spring. And I think that should cover everything. Thank you for the time.
Sean, it's been another banner year for panther deaths too, traffic related.
Yes, it has. There's a couple. That's right, down south. That's right. We'd love to see the Panthers have free reign all the way back up through Central Florida up to the Panhandle like they did back in the day.
So some of that might be put aside for that too.
The wildlife corridor money is very popular with all the legislators. Your Senator Keith Truenow has authored some of that legislation. He's very much behind that, as well as Ag Commissioner and Senate President. Yeah, so I think we do see some good funding.
If you ever had the pleasure of walking up or having a panther behind you in the wild and hearing him scream, you'll appreciate wildlife. You hear him, the head goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they come through here. They come through the water line. Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move on to council. Let's start with Carol. What do you have for us?
Yeah, pretty sweet and easy. Kudos to Paul and the town team, Sandy and everybody else. I thought Light Up Montverde was beautiful, gorgeous. A lot of time and effort went into it. I know that, and it paid off. I thought it was really good. All kinds of good comments. I will caution you though, you keep upping the game, so I'm curious as to what you'll do next year. So, but it's a good Light Up Montverde. Thank you very much.
That's it?
That's it for me.
All righty, how about Joe?
I have a few things. I'll second that. Hats off to staff. And I think, Paul, we now know what your favorite holiday is. So, having said that, I wanted to ask a question, follow-up. Did you have any chance talking with South Lake TV at all about the spinning situation at all?
Yeah, I did talk to them. They don't have a way to buffer, but they're going to try to work and see if they can figure out some other things that could make that work.
That'll work. Okay. After last month's meeting, I had a resident actually approach me in reference to recycling, and that put me on sort of a rabbit hole to find our contract on the website, which I could not do after about 45 minutes. I don't want to keep hammering on the website, but we really need to look at doing more for our website. So my question I have is, I know the contract's coming up. Is there any discussion that we can have as council to maybe discuss dropping recycling? I took the liberty, I reached out to Winter Gardens city manager, who they're having their second reading tonight to drop it, and there's a lot of there's a lot of cities and counties that are actually dropping recycling because of the cost. So it's something I was curious on, is what the cost is for recycling for our residents. So I couldn't find it on the website, so hopefully possible maybe you could get that for me. I'd like that.
Yeah, anytime if you want a copy of the contract, you just need to text me or call me, we'll get it for you.
No,
So
and
we'll
I
be
know I
glad to.
could have. I was sort of trying to be that resident to look for it. That's why I went down that road as far as the website went.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I don't want to keep hammering on that website, but anyway. Sean, I had a question for you. A resident asked me about Fosgate and over towards Mineola, that direction. What's the ETA on that one?
I've learned not to give ETAs because I'll be wrong on it. So we'll find you out. We'll get you the latest, because that kind of thing literally changes week by week with the contractors. So, but it's going to be soon.
The Fosgate Bridge, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I know.
Okay.
10 years.
No, I'm not going to say 10 years.
Anything better is good.
That's true. It'd be ahead of schedule, right? Two other things I had, and then I'll wrap up. One of the things that I had promised residents was to do meet and greets my own self, which I do intend to do in January at some point, especially with Osgood coming. So I'm going to be updating on that one. And finally, I just wanted to commend Morgan out there, who did a presentation. I know how much fun that is at that mic. So congratulations on doing that. But that's it for me.
All right, thank you very much. Jim?
Nothing.
All righty. I'm done. I don't have anything. And Alan?
Yeah, I've got a list. Hang on here.
Second it twice.
The list. Mayor Joe. Vice Mayor Carol. Jim, Joe, Alan, Sean, Lisa, Sandy, Anita.
Does this sound like the naughty list?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong list here. Excuse me. Let me get back to my list.
Anita would not be on the naughty list.
I figured you'd appreciate that one. Paul, a serious thing, the safety issue. I heard from several people and observed some of them on our sidewalk out here where we have the parking lot. During the tree ceremony, we needed, I think, in my opinion, to do something. A lot of people were walking, didn't realize it. Stepped down, they were stumbling, and some of them, a couple of them fell. Nothing dangerous, but it was brought to my attention that that may be a liability for us. I don't know if we need to paint it yellow, mark it off or something. I don't. It's only during, it seems like, events like this that gets a high traffic and people coming into town don't realize that in that darkness there's that sudden drop down. I don't know if we have a solution for that, but I was going to ask you about that. Next up, Christmas lights in town on 455. Lately, I've been going into work extremely early, and our little town is cool. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you've gone to any place else, but you can go from Fosgate all the way around to the Cabbage Patch, and you'll see everything from a reef on a door to a whole blown yard, and each and every one in its own way really, to me, looks fantastic. I mean, our town pops. I noticed Brad sitting there, that the clock tower, that when it's 3 a.m. in the morning there's fog, that is awesome. That's almost like a Hallmark picture, the whole town. Porter Road, if you haven't seen it at 3 a.m., you know, you go to sleep, but it's worth the look to see it. It's absolutely gorgeous. During the light up a tree, Paul had shared with me that we had a resident that decided that they needed to help and spruce up the big reef over here, and the 4 reefs that were hanging around on the roundabout. They looked outdated, so I don't know who that person is, but thank you. They spent their own time and efforts to make it updated and make it look really fantastic. Talked with Kathleen when Santa, I heard from Santa doing the photo bit that we've probably had the largest turnout that I've seen in 4 years. Kathleen had mentioned she thought the line went to the back door here, and then she suddenly realized, no, it goes all the way over to the new stage pavilion, and it was constant for 2 hours. And I wanted to say, years ago, a lot of us remember Art Linkletter, who used, if you're old enough to remember that, his thing with kids, and he put a book out, Kids Say the Darnest Things. When you're sitting there on a Santa suit and somebody tells you some things, by gosh, they are some darnest things that they tell you. It's unbelievable. So I wanted to say thank you from Mrs. Claus and Santa to the town for the opportunity to reach out and reach to our community. We both truly enjoy it. It's been this is the 4th year that I've done it and 3rd year that she's done it. And it has been really neat, just that feeling of giving back and really seeing it. During the parade, a quick note, Kathleen Meyer.
Alan, thank you.
Well, I enjoyed it.
I know you do, but still.
Kathleen Myers from the Academy was our elf again this year, and this year Joe and Kathleen rode in the UTV handing out candy, and I think that worked really well. But when we finished the parade, Mrs. Meyer came to me and said, "This is for you," and she held up this bag. And this was the epitome of Christmas. When we were in the trailer park, there was a little girl, I guess maybe 3, 4 years old, came running up to him and said, "This is for Santa. We made homemade cookies this morning, and we wanted to make sure Santa got Christmas cookies." And I thought that was the epitome of the spirit of Christmas. And from a child's perspective, it was absolutely fantastic. Our town has been really good at that. And I've sensed it when you meet with the kids and you talk to them, to see with all the things we have going on this past year and years past, the uncertainty of politics, to see children that believe in Christmas and they still have that, Polar Express approach to Christmas, and they look forward to it. The number of times that kids came running up, "Santa," and they'd hug on you, and it was just like unbelievable. I don't think you can put a value on that, but it was really neat to close out to say that Christmas is still alive in the hearts of children, both young and old in Montverde, and the true meaning of Christmas is still there too with the nativity scenes. And we really have a great town, and my wife and I wish to say thank you, town and council, for the opportunity to serve in such a way. I'm 66 years and I don't think the last bunch of years I've had this much joy out of Christmas as being part of the Montverde Christmas. And it is truly unbelievable. And you guys as taxpayers allow us to do things that I don't think everybody else does. And it is fantastic. It's a lot of work. You watch Paul and his crews and the volunteers that help, and it is a lot of work to put it on. But when you see it, you go, wow, we're more than Mayberry. We're way up on top of the hill from Mayberry. So thank you once and all. But I thought you guys might appreciate this. Some of the others are maybe on the other list. Of course, I didn't say which list this was, so there's hope for all of us. So thank you once again.
Alrighty.
Oh, there is one other thing that Santa told me. I know you can't see this with the Santa beard, but Santa actually has a bow tie on, so just for tonight. So
You're not going to save, right?
no.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's go ahead and do the minutes finally for the November 12th meeting.
You want to do the finance report?
Not yet.
Save it. Sounds good to me.
I'd like to do the minutes for the town
All right.
in November. Anybody want to make a motion to accept, deny, changes?
Second.
Okay, I made a motion to accept. Jim second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Against, say nay. Okay, ayes have it. Go to the finance report. Start at $5,245,015.67. We ended with $4,643,870.69. Our available cash and our grant clearing accounts, everything totals up to $8,350,079. Now we can finally go to the water tower and talk about that.
Mayor, if it's all right with you, I'll kind of cover the water tower plans and the future water projects together. Both of those discussion items are kind of intermingled. I just want, in your packets, I just included a copy. I know you can't read all the little print stuff, but I mainly want you to see the design and the picture and the layouts of the water tower. So that's in there. That's going to be covered as a part of the $12.9 million grant that the town received from the Shafi Funding for the hurricane resilience. So take a look at that. If you got any questions, I do have a large print if you want to come in and take a look at that. It's just a lot of it's just details on it, but that give you a feel for that. What I wanted to cover, we're at the point where, as you remember, you approved a planning study. We have to submit a planning study into DEP, which goes to EPA, so they can approve the projects for the Shafi funding we have. So that's the $12.9 million. There's going to be a lot of criteria they have to meet because it has to be related to hurricane hardening and resiliency related to future events. And so there's nothing specific in, because I just had this meeting with the engineers tonight, but I kind of wanted to give you a rundown of what the things we feel that would qualify and make sure everybody feels pretty good about that. I'm going to do the same thing for the storm projects too. So under the Shafi grant, the 12.9, we have this water tower that you have there, with the possibility putting another well in there, as well as another redundant well, since that would be on a complete different electric system with SACO. We have the redundant well, and that water tower is at about 95% design. It shows 100, but there's a water line that needs to be moved in there. Well, we also have the redundant well at the existing water tank that is at 100% design, ready to go to bid. We're going to hold off till spring till we get everything finalized with the grant money. With that money, the $12.9 million, we also looked at doing our older well that's down here by the park, doing upgrades to that, pulling the shaft out, getting everything done on that, replacing the motor on that. Multiple places in town, we can increase our line sizes. We have a lot of 2-inch lines. We have some galvanized lines. We have some 4-inch lines. We have some areas that don't hardly have any lines going to them. We have a couple 1.5-inch lines going to them. Also with that, we can loop our water lines to increase one for better water pressure, for better flows. We've had a couple of residents in the past, you know, that if they're at the bottom of the hill, they kind of get some silt and things in there. The more we loop the system, the more the water flows through the system. So that would help with a little bit of the water quality. We also would like to go through and replace, we have some very older hydrants in town that are really bad shape. Obviously we got a lot that need painting. Some of them are functional, but some of them are just at the point of age. While we have the funds, it'd be good to replace the ones that we can. In addition, with all these process and new wells, we need to increase our SCADA system so the wells can communicate well and we can have some more ability to control it remotely when we have issues. We've talked about doing security upgrades at all the plants with better fencing, lighting, and security systems, and generator upgrades for the stuff that we can't get covered by FEMA. So that's kind of what we came up with the projects for the $12.9 million, and just want to see if you had any questions on those. And obviously the engineers will be putting it together in a full report for your review and approval once that's done, but we need to give them a little bit of guidance. Again, you can't put everything you want on your wish list because it has to fit the criteria, which they haven't even put that out there yet. That's the fun part. We got to kind of guess from.
The clock's ticking on the money.
The clock's always ticking on the money.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what's your projected for getting the final plans and actually start construction and stuff?
Yeah, so on tonight's agenda, you have the approval of the agreement, the grant agreement, which is the $12.9 million, and that they just got that to us a couple of weeks ago, and they've already called us, and they wanted it a month ago, so we've been kind of fighting with them on that. The planning study will take about 3 months to complete, a year for engineering, and up to 2 years for construction. We have to have it spent in 3 years. It'll be a lot of work to get it out the door.
But my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, is if we have contracts in hand and committed, that gives us a pushback, correct? I mean, if we have signed with so-and-so to build it, so-and-so to all this stuff that comes through, as long as meet those deadlines, it doesn't have to be
So
100%.
these funds have to be
totally.
expended within the 3-year period.
Okay,
It's
so that pushes
not
us-
encumbered. It would actually have to be expended. So really, we're going to have to push to get the designs in and get them out to bid as quick as possible in case we have any hiccups. And the reason why is there's deadlines where that money has to go back to the federal government if the state doesn't use it.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Does everybody feel okay with those projects?
Yeah, so the vision is, at the end, we're gonna have 2 water towers, 2 water tanks. We're gonna have,
4 wells.
4 wells, 1 not working on the Hills of Mount Vernon, right?
Well, that one doesn't even count.
That's
That one's actually an irrigation well. It's not deep enough for a
Yeah,
potable.
yeah,
But
but
yeah,
it's a
it
well,
helps.
technically.
But
So-
actually 4 true potable wells.
Well, we'll have this one here, the one we're gonna do for the new tower, the one we have for the other tower
And we're also doing a redundant one at the existing.
over here.
Yep,
So,
correct.
and then this tank here is gonna be used?
Correct. Yeah, so our water tank, Mayor, as you know, you signed that contract agreement. We've had it inspected. It's in great shape. It's got a long life left to it. And so that would be good. Part of this process, just because of the maintenance and the age, we also will abandon the pneumatic tank that we have at the old well system and put that over into a
Well,
drive.
no, that's what I was pointing to.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
That
So
well, that tank's gonna be
that tank will be abandoned.
abandoned.
Correct.
Yeah.
The well will stay, but the tank
Yeah,
will be
and I mean, the water tower's fine. It's the
Yes.
one with the old tower.
Correct.
So there's gonna be a well here still,
Correct.
one on the water tank, one on the new water tank.
And actually 2 on the water tank up on the hill.
Oh, there's
Yeah, we're gonna have an
we're gonna do
alternated
a
redundant well.
Okay, that's
Correct.
what it's for.
Yep.
Okay, I remember. And that's all gonna be switched out right at the old water tank, right? All of the water, lines are gonna go there?
There actually will all be looped where they're gonna work in concert. So
Mm.
how it works, nothing's pumped into the water towers. It's as the pressure builds, the water tower fills, the wells will slowly turn down. As demand comes, the pressure of the water keeps the PSIs for the customers. They drop and they fill back up, so the water tanks do this.
And we're gonna have 400 to 500,000 in storage
Yeah,
gallons?
correct. We will be a little over 500,000 gallons in storage,
Which will
yeah.
last us at least 2 days.
Not including the lines, yeah.
So if our system goes down, we got 2 or 3 days worth of water. And you already got in stock the pump for the water tower.
That's correct. About 2 budget years ago, I bought a replacement motor for the well over there.
And that's to the top of the building, right? To replace it, you have to lift the shaft.
That's correct. That's correct.
So our new system, we'll be buying 2 motors, right? I would suspect that we buy a replacement motor.
Yeah, we might be able to put that under the grant. And the other thing we talked about after they kind of designed, if we got the funds, both of the buildings that house the well systems are really old, and we could replace those because they won't withstand the storm events. So that might be something we can do as well.
So our 2 tanks will have one motor that they're using, and they're electric, and 1 motor for each one in stock in case they go down, because they're the biggest problem.
They are. Well, what's nice with this system, we will have 4 different wells we can pull from at any time on 2 different electric systems. Now, obviously, the hurricane, both electric systems went down. We have generators running, but we will truly have 4 different wells if a well went down that we can pull from. So we'll be able to be out of commission and still be able to
And they'll
get
all be
parts.
plumbed into the main system, so they'll be filling
Correct.
the lines
Yep.
all the time.
Yep, that's correct.
Why would we abandon this tank? I'm just curious.
At this, a week or 2 ago, everybody had a little bit of milky water. It's an older system. It was designed before you had the water tower, obviously. And with the new technology, you can operate it using variable frequency drives, where what it does is as there's a demand, it can put the water directly in without having to go through the tank. So it would actually save on electricity, produce better water, and it will get rid of a large maintenance item for the town.
Yeah, plus, right now, it's the storage we have, it's part of the storage.
It's a part of the storage,
So
and
that's
we won't need that
important.
storage.
So we'll have enough storage with the new
Yeah.
tank.
Yeah, and in addition, your line capacity counts as part of your storage, as you have line capacities. So a lot of those loopings, there's a couple, really this downtown area, there's a lot of lines that be redone, looping down here. We looked at some looping Long Ridge on Fosgate with the development textures. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on that. Mag Terrace has some dead ends at their roundabouts. We can loop those in and go through there as well.
And just so Bob and Jane know, we are constantly bringing up your problem in the system. It's in part
Working
of
at
the
it.
conversation. It is part of the conversation. Thank you. You're welcome. All righty, let's move on. There's an end in sight. We got $13 million.
All right, stormwater projects, Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, want to let the council know, and I invited the mayor to come into the meeting. Today I had with our engineer team. We met with Morgan French, who does their financing and works with DEP on a lot of the loans and grants. You know, as you recall, we had $19 million for wastewater, clean water, which the council elected not to use and return those funds. We reached back out to DEP because when we originally put the grant, we put some flexibility in that grant language. Luckily, they did that. And we were having the possibility if we can use some of that money for storm projects, which I mentioned to you at the last meeting. Morgan has been in conversations with them, and they've agreed to draw up a grant agreement, and they're going to let us, till we see the final paperwork, but they're going to let us reallocate the entire $19.9 million for stormwater projects for the town. The trick is, it comes back to the flooding and resiliency thing. We have to make them fit the envelope of what we can use it for, and clean water. You know, it has to be hurricane, clean water related, resiliency. So it's going to be fun trying to get the projects to fit, but we feel like we could do that. So that is good news for the town. They should have that agreement. Supposedly it's already been drafted. It's gone through level 1 review. It's at the level 2 reviewers. It has to go to the level 3, then we get it. I will need to, as soon as we get that, because they needed that really back about a month ago. If they didn't give it to us, they probably would have to give the money back, long story short, on it. So they agreed it's a clean water project. So I will be calling a special meeting as soon as we get that agreement, just to approve that agreement, because I have to get it signed and get it back to them ASAP. And so that maybe around Christmas and maybe around the first of the year, so just a heads up on that. So with that, I kind of want to go over some of the projects we talked about and see if you have any others you would like to add. Again, we had this meeting today. I would have had something in your packets, but we need to kind of start thinking about where we need to go with this for planning purposes, because we're going to have a very limited time. If you kind of think about this is the same schedule that we have. So we're going to be doing over $30 million of projects and basically a construction, 2-year construction period. It's going to be nuts. So we got a lot to do, so we're going to have to stay on top of it. So I'll start off kind of some of the projects we talked about. And let me start, this is in addition to the $2 million that we already have in funding from the DEP grant. And as you know, we're working on the vulnerability assessment. That's going to be coming forward. We're in line for more stormwater funding with that vulnerability assessment. So what the engineers are working or trying to do, and the funding team is trying to figure out, look at every single project the town could do and figure out what best pot this money fits in and what best pot the money we know we can get at the next go around, because now we're in line with that vulnerability assessment that we got funded to do the grant funding with. So currently, as you know, we did the bid for Lakeside. We have the bid back. We had one high bidder, one lower bidder. One was about $700,000. One was like $1.6 million. I don't have the exact numbers with me. I'll have that at the next meeting. Anita will be working on that contract to review the contract once the engineers have put together, and so that'll be something I'll probably looking at letting that getting those to proceed maybe in March after the council approves the contract at the next meeting. So I'll be at the next meeting. The other big item that you guys have on there was the stormwater detention at Truscott Park. So that kind of got into design. We kind of put that on pause with all the other stuff we had going on, so they're going to get back to designing that. So that's taking the stormwater around First Street and getting rid of the stormwater tank. And that hurricane we had some horrible washouts at Truscott Park on the bottom side of the thing. So they're going to put the underground tanks in there, collect the stormwater, and then bring up some storm up Porter Avenue, probably between 1st and 4th Street in there to collect all that water and take care of that. So that's the existing grant money we have. The $19 million, the projects we talked about doing on those, and again, pop in if we can make it fit, we definitely would like to, would be I'm sorry, one more on this old grant money. We also looked at Florence Park at putting a baffle box in Florence Park, because we have that right there at the beginning of the park. We have that inlet that goes in. All the water that comes down Porter rushes into that and goes straight out to Florence Lake. We'll have the ability to put a baffle box in there to kind of get some of the particulates before it enters the water. So that would be one project we're going to try to throw in with this Truscott. So for the new money, one of the big projects we talked about doing is 455. It's a county road. We have a lot of land there because of the trail and some ability, some extra land in there. Right now, that water, when there's a heavy storm event, all of 455 kind of heads down to the low section and rushes through the pipe they put in and over the road into the lake. So the town is going to actually try to partner up with the county on that and see if we can get some road impact fees to maybe help with that a little bit. Throwing that out to you, Sean. I haven't talked to you about that. So, but do some stormwater improvements on 455 and also incorporate some streets in with those stormwater improvements. We talked about doing islands on 455 to help slow the cars down. Those islands, stormwater detention. Probably gonna need another mic here. Let's see if that's better. In addition, in creating some true detention where the water has a place to go to filter out before it enters Lake Florence, that really will help with water quality. That's probably one of the worst runoff areas as far as street roads coming in. So that would be one of the projects to look at. Another one we talked about is in the it's a small project, but the dog park area where we have the detention for the sports courts, possibly putting some underground takes in there around the dog park, and that would give us opportunity to expand the dog park a little bit in the future. A real bad area that really needs to be addressed is 8th, Neal, and Hickory. That's around Judy's house for those you know in that area. It's very hilly there. It washes out. It floods into people's driveway in that area, and the road's actually running through there. It's a perfect place for curb and gutter and actually storm pipe, and then maybe a baffle box before that goes into Franklin Pond area. We also, another hot spot could be a possibility is Burke Street, where it enters Lake Florence. That's on the very top of Lake Florence. It's a little street that sits back there that could use a little small detention pond before it goes in to clean the water. Another area we looked at, or want to look at, is the Highland Avenue and whole Lake Street area for some storm improvements. That's another area that part of it flows down, obviously the hill toward 455 and rushes down there pretty quick. Does get some detention at the bottom of that, but kind of controlling that a little bit better. The area of Highland where it goes up behind Lowry to kind of help prevent some of the runoff and stuff that's going down the Lowry would be another opportunity. Then the area in front of the water tank would be possible another ability where we can look at creating some stormwater detention in there too. Boat ramp area, of course. And then also looking at outlet structures where we can put those storm baffle boxes in. We have about 3 inlets that are off various little roads, like Scott Street, where Lakeside ends, where we just have a storm pipe go straight into Lake Apopka. So those would be some opportunities we have some right of ways along those roads where we can maybe put some storm baffle boxes in there to help work on that water for Lake Apopka. So those are the projects we identified we thought would fit under the program. If you have any others, feel free to talk now or come to me and I can throw them in the mix, and we'll try to get as much as we can into the box of that.
Can you put something together that explains all what you just said and the locations, and then we could, when we have a chance, go look at them and understand them a little bit?
I'll give you a photocopy of what I got here. Yes,
yeah,
most definitely.
It's a long one. Okay.
It is a long list. I just kind of want to throw out what we're going to have a limited time, so I want to throw out what we're thinking, and I apologize. We just had to do this today, so otherwise I would have had something more thorough for you to look at.
And maybe break it up into the 2 lists, like about, this money can go here and this money can go there.
Sure.
And break them that way, because that was a little confusing too. Understand.
It's a lot of projects and a lot of money to move around. So.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, but I think the key takeaway, you kind of listen to the list. If you have other areas where you see there's stormwater concerns, please let me know. Then I can pass it on and see if the engineers can make that work.
Great. Good job. Let's move on to
Hey, Paul, Third Street, that's always been that bad wash off going down there. Is there anything potentially down here on Third before it goes into, because we always have problems with
Which
washout.
section of Third? I'm sorry.
Back over here on Third, where it goes down the hill and it stops, where it goes into the trailer park.
Oh, down on the end? Yeah, I could definitely look into that area.
'Cause, I mean, that constantly washes and everything else, and I don't know if there's anything we can do to, boxes there to catch it before it goes in that basin down there for,
Yeah, there is a detention at First Street that gets some of that Third Street there, but when it comes around the corner, I guess, yeah, I understand.
There's a
that.
wetlands right there, too.
Paul, have we gone past the library?
That's next.
Oh, okay, I thought it was going to the next page.
Alrighty, we're all set to move on? Alright, let's try the, library budget. You guys have this page? Library?
Yeah,
Under
Paul
the-
informed me that we're under budget and doing well. Is it a lot that you do with you and John?
Yeah, John's doing a great job of help managing the project and working obviously with Sandy to do that on the project and myself. So far the numbers are looking really good for the total cost. We have a $2.4 million $2.44 million project budget on it. We right now have contracts amount in the amount of $1,731,000. We're still not done. We have a lot of there's a few things that are not in there, like putting the flooring down, even though the flooring is bought in there, some of the outside landscaping things along that line. But I just wanted to, at a past meeting, I wanted to kind of show you this format of just where I can, especially as we do these other storm projects and sometimes these large projects, I want to provide you like a format similar to this and want to make sure everybody kind of understands this okay, so you can kind of see what we got committed, how much has been paid, and how much is going out the door. So, and please, if you got any questions on that, I think everything's looking really good. I talked with Sean might be able to, just for giggles, is it the Astor Library you guys are working on? I think it's 6,000 square feet, and the budget on that is approaching $5 million, $4.5 million?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah,
so just smile at that. Just smile.
Yeah. By the way, I've asked Paul to come and talk to the county commission about a lot of his projects being under budget and cost effective. So,
Well, John's going to be free next year.
John, you want to come? You want to come to the county as well?
John has a way of saying no, and I mean no, and I mean it's amazing.
You notice how John's hair is grayed since working with me.
So we're doing more for less.
Yeah, I mean, we got for a commercial building, we got if you think about that, it's 8,000 square feet, and you look at that number, that's a pretty good number for commercial coming into in today's world. So we should be able to get everything in on budget. A big item is going to be the furniture on the inside. That's probably going to be a $200,000 package to get everything we need on the furnishings on the inside. But that's really, most of it's smaller scale of what we got left. There's, hey, 20,000 here, 20,000 there, but that's reality of what's left. Pavers will take a little bit, probably 50,000 on the pavers, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any. You guys got any questions?
Yeah, it looks good to me.
No? Okay. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and try to knock out these ordinances. The first one here, we're going to go ahead and table and take it to a workshop.
Correct.
So the golf cart one, we're not going to do tonight. The next one, if you would please, Anita, 2024-151.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the Second Amendment to Interlocal Agreement for Disbursement of American Rescue Plan Act funds between Lake County, Florida and the Town of Montverde, providing for an effective date.
Do you want to explain that, Anita?
Sure. This is the agreement, the amendment to the agreement, the $5 million that was granted to the town for the septic to sewer conversion has been reallocated. The Board of County Commissioners approved awarding $1.3 million to be used by the town for its own DWTS utility. And they, of course, are allowing the money that was previously spent on the septic to sewer conversion. That is up to $1.5 million. And then the rest of the funds we have to return. So that's what this agreement states.
Right, so we had $5 million. We spent 1.4 on surveys and engineering, and then we had 3.6 left. And the county decided that, and remember now, the county's under the gun to allocate that money before the end of the year. So they had to, or spend that money before the end of the year, I'm sorry. And if they would have spent it all with us, there's a chance that we wouldn't have been able to spend it all correctly. And this is my own opinion. So they took it upon themselves to decide how many sewer systems they thought we could put in the allocated time. And they decided, this is all my theory.
Yeah, well, we didn't. They.
Right,
Yeah.
now you,
Yeah.
and Mayor, Jennifer, the county manager and lawyer and all, everybody decided that we could probably do 50, so they gave us 60. So that adds up to right at 130, 120,000, a million, $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million. So they gave us that money and took the other money that's left, which is, what would that be, 2.3 million, and allocated that to a project that they know could use that money in time. That's my theory. Totally. Now, would you argue that? Would you add to that or anything?
Well, as I said, the $5 million was always guaranteed to the town for a septic to sewer conversion project. It was, you were headed towards using the money for their sewer system. You decided not to, as that's your prerogative. So the money was available there for whatever amount you thought you wanted to use for DWTS. There was some concern about it not being used all at once like that, but so the rest went back into a pot that we thought would be used for roads, could be used for roads. It could not.
Right, so
Yeah.
they had to decide something quick and take less exposure to losing the money. And that's what they did. I feel lucky that we got the 60 units, 50, 60 units. So now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anita, but I think we should, start thinking about, okay, we have 22 houses on Lake Apaca. We have 30-something houses on Lake Florence. Offer it to those people, because that would be where it would be most effective. And whatever numbers left, because I really doubt everybody's going to do it, that's on the lakes, then offer it to other avenues on how to, maybe closer to wetlands first. We just haven't decided all that yet. So right now we have $1.3 million to put systems in, the DWTS systems, which is a sewer system for each house, not a septic tank. Anybody want to add to that? Come on up. Oh. Hello.
Ooh, we can shock people.
He did.
Bob Hamilton, 16634 Magnolia Terrace. What I'm pleased, the most important thing was, in my opinion, was to take care of the lakefront. I mean, I love the storm water that we're putting together. That's going to be huge, and then the lakefronts. However, I would really like maybe an ordinance or something put in for the lakefront owners, being that they're going to get it through the grant, that all the lakefront owners have to have it. And the reason I say that is because that is the reason that we're putting in. If there was going to be sewer, they would all have to have it.
If it went down their road.
Pardon?
if they put the line down the road, they would have.
No, yeah, but I'm saying.
But they, that doesn't mean they all have to have
If
it.
we were going to go sewer, if we would have, then
Right.
they all would have been mandated to be able to go on the sewer.
Maybe not.
So
So-
and just real quick, Bob,
And again, the only reason, just one thing, the only reason that we're doing this is to save the lake. Please,
Right.
that's the only reason we're
Right.
doing it, and that's my thought.
yeah, just to mention as far as mandating it, so right now the current statutes read within a sewer line served by a central wastewater treatment plant. With DWTS, Anita may correct me on this, but until we get a load reduction requirement from the BMAP, it would probably be hard to enforce authority to require mandated hookup. And I don't think, more than likely the goal would still probably be voluntary hookup to try to get as many people as possible on that. But it'd probably be a stretch of authority at this point until we get a load reduction from the BMAPs. But hopefully we can encourage people to do it through the process.
I think that's the most important.
It may not be a real great deal for those people on the water. I agree with the environmental issue, but I don't agree with mandating. We're going to differ totally on that one. And the difference, though, on this one is that you're going to be paying a monthly fee, $55 a month, which will go up. And you're also going to pay for testing. You got to do a testing of the system. I don't know how much that's going to be, but that's going to be done also. So, in the end, I think it's a great deal, and I plan on jumping on it. But others may not. I agree with you on the mandate part, but this part, when it comes to the water quality, that's dealing with the state law.
Well, eventually it's going to end up being an issue.
Agreed.
Down the line, so it's going to cost them more down the line. if they don't get
I
it.
couldn't agree more. Sell it to them, Bob.
My other point is that maybe the town can really, based on the 60 that we're dealing with, really educate these people really well on, if you don't do it now, then it's going to cost a lot more. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would agree with Jim on this,
Come on
as
up,
well as
Randy.
mandating. I'm
Come on
not for
up.
that.
Randy Elman, 16603 Lowry Road. Is the sewer completely dead?
Yes.
Yep.
That's completely dead. So it wouldn't be an issue if one of the owners got this septic system and at some future date, they ran the sewer line down the middle of the road?
It's not a septic system.
I know.
It's a sewer
You
system.
follow what I'm saying now?
It's an individual sewer system, so
I know,
you would not have to hook up. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of leap of faith.
No, but you see what I'm saying, Paul?
We know what you're saying.
What if in the future that we had the septic, individual septic system? And the
Oh, you
town
talking
had
about-
sewer line down the road? Is that a scenario you can't answer?
Yeah, you're saying it's.
I don't know. I mean, it would have to get to the point where the council would want to mandate it, and then, I mean, the town's paying for it, so I guess there's a theory that could happen, but it would be really far down the road and far-fetched at this
But
point.
everybody's saying the sewer
Yeah.
is dead.
And with this group, we voted not to do it.
I
You
mean,
were here.
unless it's mandated in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it would come down
So
to,
it
yeah.
would encourage the people to do.
You were here when we voted no, right?
I was here, but I also want to correct the record. I think the facts state that we were lied to from the beginning.
I got to go to the bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah. I think we were lied to.
Well, yeah, we could point fingers, but
But just to clarify, when,
Again, I said, Merry Christmas, but, let's just face facts that, we spent a lot of money, and wasted a lot of money on that. Okay, we got a great survey, but we wasted a lot of money, and I think that engineering firm, they knew the cost of everything, but the value of nothing. I think we need to just keep that in mind and not repeat.
yeah. Well, we have specialists, Anita, Paul, Woodward and Kern. This council is supposed to decide what we want to do, and they just feed us what we need as far as information.
But remember when we all were over there in the old library?
Yeah,
That was a sales job if there ever was one. I'm a salesman.
I wasn't selling it.
You weren't what?
I wasn't selling it.
So we were lied to, right?
I wasn't selling it.
I wouldn't say we're lied to, because you have to throw the factor at DEP to change the rules mid-game too. And when Woodward and Kern started the rules were different than when they ended up.
They didn't even know the last meeting, remember the last meeting, that they didn't even know that the money could be spent individually for individual hookup, or is that what I heard? I mean, we can.
That's not really
No,
productive,
that's not
but
correct.
we understand.
It's not really productive, I
Yeah.
just don't want to repeat that.
Let's just, like you said before, let's just start all over again.
And
And,
last thing, what happened, Sean? I thought it was going to be a slam dunk.
Well,
That was
again,
the impression we had last meeting, and then suddenly, boom, we get the minutes that said boom.
yeah, well, again, so the $5 million was coming from the county, as the county commission allocated that money for water projects. We'd also talked about road projects 3 years ago. The $5 million was totally available, as I've said, to the town, up until just the,
Vote on that? Or?
we voted finally the last Tuesday, because the town said that they wanted to use about 60 hookups. As you remember the last meeting, I said we would have up to the 4 million remaining if you wanted to do 300 hookups.
That's the way we left it last meeting, and we all felt.
Yeah, so I think that's, yeah.
Fuzzy and rosy, you know.
Yeah, but I think that's what the mayor was saying, was that they, you know, they felt like they only wanted to do 60, could only get 60 in.
Put in a good word for us.
I did, said the money was available for whatever the town wanted to do on that project, so, yeah.
And another resident mentioned to me before that, you know, no one did a survey of how many people that would be willing to hook up, so. They just took it on themselves that.
Well, Sean, you were one of 5, so.
Yeah, I would want to say just, I'm very thankful for the county. They chose, because we did spend $1 million that didn't have a result of anything, and they gave us another $1.3 million to do the WTF. So I'm very thankful for the money we have received from the county. They've been very supportive of us, and I can't blame them to taking that 2.4 because they don't want to lose it. They're reallocating it to other projects that they think are a higher priority. So I am thankful for that.
Two things.
okay.
When we throw all this money around, let's remember, this is taxpayer money, whether it's federal money, state, or local.
All right.
True,
It's true.
okay?
It's our money.
And they also got it back. They can spend it where they want to.
But I mean, you know, we have to be good stewards because.
That would be true.
even
That
though-
would be true. Are you not one of the people who tried to torpedo the whole project?
No.
No?
We needed to torpedo the thing. We were
Okay,
lied
all
to.
right. In that case,
We were lied to.
you said that twice to me.
Yeah, well.
Well, that's your
words,
opinion. You keep saying your opinion is like, it's a truth.
but It is the truth.
No, it's an opinion.
Well, wait, guys, it's not very productive. Let's go ahead and move on. We understand it's all the way down the road. We all learned from what happened.
Well, let me just clarify, because you keep saying sewage is dead, sewer is dead, sewer is dead, okay? And as far as this council is concerned, yeah, it's pretty much dead and buried, okay?
good.
But that does not mean that some council at some point in the future will not resurrect it. Okay, just to be clear, dead doesn't mean it's gone forever, it just means it's gone as far as we're concerned.
We're not pursuing it, the town's not
No.
pursuing it.
No.
No.
Matt, you're not pursuing it.
And he does what he's told, and we told him not to do it.
So
Now he
that's where it
doesn't do
stands for this council.
That's his job. We tell him what to do.
But
We only
the
give
point
him,
is, even though we only are gonna have 52 houses now, that possibly would be the new accepted.
I'm hoping we do use them all.
Still graduate from that.
We went
Now
to
we
have
know
this
what the
together.
problem is.
Sheriff Bergeron, 16443 Magnolia Club Drive. I have a couple questions. On-site is emergency left the last time, right?
Yeah, he's up there.
So I just want to clarify, I believe the service fee was included, or the testing and benefit was included in the service fee. I believe that's what we said last time. So you think a flat fee, and I was correcting on that, but I just wanted to make sure that.
We're gonna go through the contract here in a couple of ordinances.
Yeah, and I'll have some details on it for you.
Yeah, we'll be able to explain it to you.
The other thing I just wanted to clarify is when is the grant money for the 60 units? When does that need to be used by or allocated?
Well, they voted on it last week, so it's pretty much there now. We have a contract. Well, we have a contract that the town's gonna be signing with On-Site that we're gonna review in a little bit here, and then it's spent.
The total amount will be within 2 years that we have to spend the ARPA funds. So yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else?
Andrew Elam, 17175 Ridgewood Avenue. I heard you speaking about potentially wetlands being second in line. Can I get a confirmation on that? We have 2 homes on wetlands, so.
We haven't really, we talked, me and Paul and I talked about it, but the council really hasn't discussed it yet. It's gonna have to be a workshop or something that we talk about it. But it makes perfect sense to do that. And I can almost, there's gonna be some to go that way. I really feel that strong.
So would you guys reach out to the people that are on the wetlands, or do we?
Oh, no way, no. I'm kidding.
I'm just trying to get everything in a row to figure out, what are the steps process.
Yeah, well, we're gonna start in January, February and get it all lined up and handed out. What is it, 3 months to get a permit for the system?
Yeah, it's about 90 days. They have to get their permit.
Yeah.
And so what I'd like to do is bring a resolution for council that states the priority area. We'll have a priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. And when we run out of money, if we have more commitments, they'll go to a lottery system, something along that. So priority 1 would probably lakefront, priority 2 would be wetlands, and priority 3 might be 2 or 3 houses off, and maybe there's priority 4, everybody else.
Right.
Then we'll basically send notices to the entire community probably all at once and just see
So that's
who all
gonna be
signs
Paul's
up.
idea, and then the council's gonna come up
Yep.
with their own
Okay, so
on what they
it'll
wanna do.
match like how you did with like the sewer system, right, where it was like the priority 1 here, priority 2.
I mean, we'll bring it at a workshop and just the council can decide what those priorities are of how to get them out, and if they want to do priorities, I assume that would be the case, but they will decide that at a workshop, and then they'll just put
So
it
make sure you come
directions
to
in the
those
council.
meetings.
So yeah, come and state your
The
feelings.
public
when we do
meetings.
that. And it'll probably at the March is what we're shooting for that meeting to kind of get it kind of lined out.
Alrighty. All right, come on up, anybody else? All right, let's go ahead and move on.
Back to council.
What do we got here?
We need to make a
Need
motion.
a motion on resolution 2024-151.
I had a question before we go on with that. This is saying 130 septic systems. Is that the correct number? Because I'm hearing that, and then if I do the math, I'm showing 52 homes on the average of 25,000.
We were approximating when we made the request.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve. Yep, what are we at? 152 or 151?
151.
Okay. Resolution 2024-151.
I have a motion, I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. Let's move on, if you would, please, Anita, 2024-152.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Lake County, Florida, accepting proposals submitted by On-Site Performance LLC pursuant to the town's request for proposal 2024-WW003 for distributed wastewater treatment system, authorizing the town manager to approve and execute a contract between the Town of Montverde and On-Site Performance LLC in an amount not to exceed $1.3 million, providing for conflict severability and an effective date.
Okay, so now this is the contract, and I'm going to ask Paul to explain what he's read in the contract, and we have the rep here and if we need to ask questions.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Just going to go over the highlights of the pricing of the contract and obviously not how the system works. We put out a request for bids. They were the only responder to the bid, was on site, so they are our recommendation to you, obviously.
And there's other companies, but they
And
didn't.
there are some other companies that do some things in different parts of the area that could have qualified under the bid. We did get a couple other calls asking about it. So their bid came in, which you'll see on page 46 of the bid that you have in there. If they have to replace the drain field and put a new system in, the cost is $30,517. If they can utilize the existing drain field, the cost to install is $19,744. The price does not include any repair of the irrigation lines, buried cable lines, buried house electrical, plumbing lines. The homeowner is responsible, or the town if you choose to, I guess, removing any vehicle sheds or anything or brush or trees that would be in the way. Also, homes that have steep grades or have a longer length of run, they would have to run the lines, or maybe some additional cost in that, such as topography and different soils. There is the monthly cost that they put in the bid, which we included in the bid, was a base cost of $55 per month. That cost is would increase with the Consumer Price Index for the Public Service Commission, which is approximately running 3% lately, a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but always average about 2.83% in that. So you'll see those increase. The cost does not include any of the sampling or the reporting for the on-site. We'd have to find out what those prices are. I did talk to their representative last night, and what he said was under their current permits, 10% of the systems have to be tested. They turn those in, probably looking at $8 to $10 a month in addition to the $55 for the cost. It also does not include the electricity that would have to run that. And then the town council would also have to look at the administrative cost for the billing of the system, things along that line. So there's also on page 49, you can see the forecast of what that would look like for their cost, plus you would have to add those O&M costs on there. So year 6 to 10, probably around $62, 11 to 15 would be $70, plus you're looking at your $10 sampling on top of those. So be glad to answer any questions.
The 19,000 or something is for the system. Another 10.5 for the drain field if needed.
That's correct. So what they'll do is they'll look at the existing drain field. They'll run a percolation test on it and make sure it's in good shape and could percolate to meet the system's requirements. Then they would utilize that drain field. Within that drain field, if the drain field fails in the future, it is the homeowner's responsibility to have that drain field fixed as well.
Paul, in this, I'm going to play devil's advocate, so just bear with me. $55, I get it, okay. Going forward, the multiple electrical motors and pumps and everything that's involved, they do wear out, they do break down. Who pays for that? Is that included in the 55
that piece is
continually?
included in their cost.
But that will, like I said, 10 years down the line, 20 years, whenever they break, that is covered by the automated monthly fee?
That is correct.
Right, so 10, 20 years from now, a homeowner doesn't get hit with, well, that's an obsolete pump and the new one is XYZ and bingo. Yeah,
really part of that is, as we negotiated, obviously, Nate and I talked, we would want to enter into a 20-year contract. They've offered, they would like to negotiate every 5 years, but I think the town would need some certainty. And you could give us direction if you want something else, but, in their proposal, they would like to do 5-year contracts and renegotiate, but I think the residents would want this in-payment monthly fees, would want some certainty going forward over the next 15 to 20 years.
Well, I don't know how to address this, so I'm going to go ahead and be the bull in the china shop. Dealing with septic tanks and the sewer system totally, there's methane gas that'll be generated. My personal experience for 41 years working in petroleum chemicals, methane is a gas that goes boom. So is anything in this system explosion proof? Does it need to be explosion proof? I don't know if that's a priority for their systems or...
I don't have the information to answer that. Maybe the representative can, but, DEP does approve them, so...
Can you come on up here?
Yeah.
Go ahead, bring us up.
Explosion issue. Bob Nicholas from Onsite. It's an aerobic system, it's not anaerobic.
Okay.
So nothing is in it is explosion proof, it doesn't need to be. They've been used for some in the ground for 6 or 7 years. Hasn't been any problem. DEP approves the process. That's the problem. On the lab cost, that is not an extra cost for the homeowner. What you do is you have to have a minimum sample of units. If there's 60 units, we're going to test 6 a month. That's a charge the city pays if they want system. You pick the lab that's going to do the test to assure that it's in compliance. It's simply done because that way you all are paying for the test, we're picking the lab and doing it that way. That's how.
But
So
we
it's
still have to
$6?
pass that
Yeah, you
cost
don't-
on to the person that has the septic system.
Yeah,
So-
but you would
so
be
it is-
looking at $40 a month for spreading it. You were correct. The regular pump replacement and blower replacement and controller replacement, all that's handled by us.
The lab side. I work for an analytical lab. Labs are certified by the state, good ones. Now, does this fall under state certifications? Because there's a lot of labs that aren't state certified that do things that don't fall under the umbrella.
Yeah, there's a pretty limited number of labs that do it in
Right.
the state. I don't know who you use, there's Pace out there, and there's a couple others. Again, we let you guys pick the lab, and that's how because you have to have a certified lab.
I'm following, let me help me. You said they're gonna take six, 7 tests?
You have a permit with the state, so you have to submit how the units are performing every month.
Each unit?
All the units combined get recorded, but you only sample 6 of them.
Oh, not all of
10%.
them.
You
No,
don't, but you rotate who gets sampled, so you try to get everybody.
Okay, so it's six you test, and how much does that cost?
I don't know, $8 or $10.
Okay, so that's $48, and that gets split over 60 units. Okay.
What do the labs test for? Your nitrates and phosphorus, basically?
We're really looking at nitrates, yeah.
Okay.
We're looking at the ammonia. We run our own process control, we do our own lab stuff in our
Right.
$5. So, I mean, we're running tests. Every time we go to a site, we pull up, we take a sample, we look at the nitrates, how it's settling, all that's.
Well, that's what I was assuming, because those are the two big nasties that everybody talks about, phosphorus and nitrate loading. So those, why would you look for molybdenum and everything else? So, yeah.
So it's $50 a month, say, for a unit. What doesn't it cover?
Well, I think the question is, the electric is hooked into the homeowner, 20-amp service. It somewhere uses electricity somewhere between the coffee pot and a microwave.
Okay.
It's not running all the time.
So that doesn't cover electric?
No, I haven't had anybody really complain about their electric.
What else doesn't cover?
All the maintenance of the unit is included in that. So if we have to pull a pump, we have to pull a probe, we have to deal with a controller, we need to put a new lid on, all that work. We have to pump sludge periodically, all that's included.
That's, you're saying what does include, what doesn't it include?
Well, if you drive over your lawnmower and press the lid, we're gonna bill you for the lid, or you're gonna bill you for the lid. So I mean, if you dump motor oil down your drain in your garage and it goes in and fills the plant, we're going to charge you to suck it all out and dispose of it, and we're gonna charge you to reseed the plant and restart all the plant. So, if you use the system, at some point you're gonna get a charge for that because it costs us a lot of money. Very, very few things like that happen. Once in a while, somebody gets the, once in a while, somebody does it, pours it down. Have had one property had a lot of grease go down it, and that was a problem. Obviously, we don't want you putting rags, wet wipes, and all that stuff down the drain. That's bad for it. Anything you normally can't put down a sewer, you can't put down.
Sewer, septic, like you can't put cleaning products down, Clorox down a septic tank.
A little bit of that is okay. The system can take it. But if you're pouring like a 1 or 5 gallon jug down there, you'll kill it. That means we'll have to come reseed it and things like that. So it's just like a sewer system. You can't put wet wipes down a sewer system because it plugs up the pump. Same exact thing. That'll happen. So, things like that, just normal things. G.I. Joe doesn't go down the drain and those kind of things.
But you pay for the pumping. All right.
Keep in mind, these units are treatment plants, and they don't need the kind of pumping you would have on site.
I just paid for 2.
Yeah, they use it. They're not perfect, they have bad days just like everybody else, but I mean, these things work so far pretty reliable for everything we're doing.
So we're gonna have a utility company to collect the money and handle the exchanges, right? Will that include, Osgood's?
No, right now, in our report, we're letting them say that HOA needs to take care of that. This has to be a public utility because we're using public grant funds, so we have to run it as the town.
So we have to open that all up for our 60 units we're gonna put in theoretically. Okay.
Do you bill water customers now?
We do.
Yeah.
You put it on the water?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I just wondered.
I mean, there will be obviously administrative costs for the calls when there's broken repairs and things like that. So like we do with the garbage bill, it's a little bit, but it's not much.
So if you're building $50 a month, it's just gonna be billed at $50 a month to those 50, 60 homes, unless there's a problem that they had and caused themselves.
Yeah, in the end, like the way Lake County is set up, there's a service agreement that covers those kind of things, that they don't.
Have you had this issue with other cities where they had to allocate a certain amount through money that they got? Like we have $1.3 million, and we want to put them around the lake first. Do you have any experiences?
Well, that's how most communities do it. So Opka, they identified one neighborhood, particularly around Set Springs, even. Those are targeted areas. It's only in that neighborhood along that spring. Lake County, the priority is 200 meters from any water line. So you have a swamp that's designated, you have a lake, you have a pond, you have a stream, 200 meters out, any house within there is the first priority. That's what we prioritize.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then there's obviously, you have to phrase that legally and that's why you have to work. So, but most of this money is targeted to that kind of area. Because you're right, closer you are to water, then that's where you want to
Okay.
The question I have here is, everything that we're looking at is, the proposal is for 150 units. Is that gonna, because we're doing considerably less, is that gonna alter the pricing?
The RFP is for a per unit cost, so, I mean, per unit cost is what it is. It's fine.
Okay, it just, everything in here says 150.
Yeah,
so.
well, that's because that's what the RFP requested. If
Okay.
you do 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, it's that unit cost.
I just wasn't sure if we were doing like a bulk discount
the
of
bid
some
was
sort
a
like
per
that.
unit, not a total cost.
All right, thank you.
I didn't follow that. What are you looking at there? Oh, okay, still per unit. I got you, okay.
Yeah, everything was 150.
All right.
The sampling rate, or, I don't want to say fee, charge, that will be divided. It's like you said, you're going to come in and you're going to pull, I don't know, 60 or samples out of 200, whatever the numbers are. And the charge for that will be distributed evenly over that entire sample area, yeah? And that is in addition to the 55 monthly. And that happens every month, but in different areas.
Right, so if you've got 60 units installed, we use that as an example. What we're probably going to do is sample six units per month for the company.
And it does
And we'll
all
work
around town,
Now,
yep.
now, we may, depending, there's a sampling plan, it's part of your NPDS permit. That sampling plan will be approved by the state, and they may designate and say, we want those two done every time, and then go through it.
So that comes from the state then?
Yeah, but everybody gets sampled throughout the year, and then you combine those results, and that's what's reported. That's also how you calculate whatever you need for your future EMAP, then that's how the loading is calculated on it.
So you guys actually do the sampling rate. It doesn't go out to a third party or something
Yeah,
like
we
that?
do it all.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Carry a cooler on the truck, all the sampling to that.
So if it's $8 a sample and you do 6 a month, it's $48 times 12. And I mean, what's that, $600?
But you don't get that every month. It's just that sample area. It's not across the whole town, right?
Right, it's just
Let's just say you start with
Yeah.
the Franklin Pond area. So for that 1 month period, the Franklin Pond residents will divide out and carry that sampling rate, that sampling charge.
Well,
addition
we
to
would
the
set a
55.
sampling rate that would be divided among the whole 60 units. So whatever it costs per month is what we would add to the $55 as a part of the bill.
It's-
So,
looking at like
but he
$1
does have to do them all. So like if it's cost whatever $200 to sample the 6 places, that 200 will be divided among the 60. So it may be $58 a month instead of the 55.
You're saying it's
$59.
$8 a sample times
Well,
six.
$10.
We don't know how many houses they're sampling.
Yeah,
at this
we
point.
gotta get the permit done and
Yeah.
then I'll, I'm gonna get all the costs.
Right, but we know we're only gonna have 60 at the most.
Yeah.
So,
Your advantage is the more you have, the reduce the number. And that's the other thing with a smaller number is more customers than is less customers.
but it's really chump change. It's very little.
The testing,
So Paul's gonna send it through on the water bill.
Mhm.
that's what everybody does.
You're not gonna do the math.
But it's gonna happen every
Right.
month. So it's gonna be up to charge that little bit, $1 a month or whatever. Okay.
Correct.
That's not
And
worth what we're talking about.
once they submit, it's about 90 days. Once they get their permit approved, we'll understand what that sampling plan is. Then we'll be able to go out and see what the interest is in having that. And then we'll be able to get the commitments and figure out what that
Right,
number
but-
is.
But in order to get them approved, we have to agree to this contract.
you
so
have
we're
to
just
agree
trying
to
to
this
understand the
and-
expense.
Correct.
And it's really very small expense. Okay.
And we're saying the sampling is going to be split across all the people for the
Correct.
cost. Okay, so $1 something.
But it's interesting.
I mean, probably a few dollars, and plus you have side administrative costs if you want to do that.
It's nice to know what you're getting into.
All right.
I'm one of those, if you tell me it's $55 and I get a bill for 58, I'm gonna rant and rave about it.
All righty. Can you do me a favor and just sit here for a minute? I'm gonna ask him to, come on up, Randy, ask your question.
While he's here,
Yep,
Randy Elman on Lowry Road.
thank you.
How much of the yard and stuff is tore up when you put this in? Sod and all like that.
All right, so let's make sure we're clear on this. What you want to think about is 400 square feet in your yard. And you're not putting the sod back? No, you put sod. Okay. What you gotta remember, this is what we try to warn everybody, so Paul was real clear about reading. We don't cover irrigation lines or buried cables or hidden wire or anything like that. You don't know. You're gonna have an excavator in your yard. They're gonna dig up 400 square feet. I didn't read about it yet. So you're gonna have this dug up, depending on how good your soil is. We might only go 2 feet deep. You got real bad soil, we might be 4 feet deep. We haul that off. But no, we pull all that dirt out. If it's good, we pull it out. We put it in the system. We put it back, and the excess we haul off. So most of it goes back. And you put St. Augustine into St. Augustine, you put St. Augustine, Bahia, or whatever we got. Then when we put it back. All I can warn people is, if you're expecting it to be the putting green of a golf course when you're done, it will not be that. We'll try to get it as good as.
Let me ask one more question. What happens to the tank that's there now and
In most cases, we pump the tank out, collapse it, pull it out, all of it. Sometimes, depending on where they're at, we will fill them in and leave them. And what I try to warn people is, we're in a yard, you've got trees, you've got a deck, you might have a pool, we have to work around all those. So sometimes we fill one in, we pump it out, fill it with gravel or sand, and it stays, we put the new one around. Other times we prefer to pull it all out.
And then use the drain field if it's.
Right. What we normally do is we look at the age of the drain field, we look at the soils that are there, and then a lot of times we run what we call flow tests. We'll try to run so many hundred gallons through and see if anything starts squirting out anywhere in there. Somebody who's licensed by the state to do that has to do it. Once we do that, then we'll know if it's good or bad. Most people come up and go, man, I got a sticky spot in my yard. And if that's the case, all right, we know. We probably get
One last question for the council. You're not gonna add any administrative costs onto the bill, right?
That was one of my thoughts too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have to do a resolution in the future.
Oh, yeah. We need about $100 a
You'll, when you sell, or when you get this packet together,
Yeah, we're only gonna charge you what we have to, you know. We're only gonna have 50, 60 houses hooked up, so.
I'm 72, so what, I got about, 10 more years?
You got 20.
You
All
got
right.
10 on your feet. Let's put it
All right, so what do we need to do, Anita?
Where we at?
The resolution awards the contract to Onsite and then authorizes the town manager to sign the contract once we have it in final form,
And what's final form?
ready to be executed.
That's gonna be different than this?
It's going to incorporate the items that they provided, but it doesn't have all the language. They just they presented a proposal. We have to actually prepare a contract.
So we would be okaying something that we wouldn't see.
Unless you want a special meeting to approve the contract.
I would like to see the contract, final numbers and all before I okay it.
Well, the final numbers are what's in the proposal. That's what you're authorizing us to do a contract for. But there's other legal language that has to be in there, obviously. It's ARPA funding, so there's state and federal requirements for language. Those are all the details that we're putting in the contract. And then the operations.
So what's the timeline with that? You gotta do it in the next couple of weeks,
We
right?
have to have a contract signed before the end of this month.
Well, I'm okay with having another meeting once you guys got everything you wanna do and just running by it real quick.
Do we need to approve this for you to move forward with the contract?
Yes,
Do.
ma'am.
Okay. So if we were to approve this tonight and there was something in the contract that one of us or some of us had an objection to, could that be corrected at the time, or would that have to, we have to go through this whole process again?
No, you're just awarding the bid, essentially. You're saying on-site, you're gonna get the contract, subject to negotiating all the terms.
Gotcha. And we will get the opportunity to review that contract.
If that's the direction of council, then we'll have to have a special meeting to bring that back to you.
Can we have it on Christmas?
Sure.
Christmas Eve, we're not doing anything.
Nope.
That's right, we can handle it, guys. Besides, there's that long week between Christmas and New Year's, right? Long
Oh,
week.
come on up, I'm sorry.
Matthew Bowden, 1122, Middle Street, Florida. After the grant funds are expended, is this contract price good for anyone else that wants to operate the system and be purchased? Since it'll be public utility, I presume, at that point?
That's a good question. I would say yes, right?
And I do have some Lakeville properties.
Yeah.
And that house on the present we used to, and I don't presume that this would be good for new construction, it's all retrofit.
I would say it's gonna be the same process, wouldn't we all say that? Right? Well,
Yeah, I
did
mean, someone
you-
wants to put it in, and, I mean, you guys will establish, we're gonna bring a resolution to establish the utility
Hmm.
and the function of it and the billing of it and all that kind of stuff, so we could definitely leave it open for people. We'll have to be careful, because we're telling some other residents no in the development stuff, so Anita's probably, I'm talking first right here, but she'll have to research that, make sure we're not putting ourselves in.
Can you add to that, Anita?
Well, I mean, I think we have a bid, and I don't know when you're gonna want to connect, but obviously that bid price is probably not good for you to, 3 years from now. So I don't,
I just meant that was the contract price and what the system would cost if someone wanted to operate.
oh, you mean the operational monthly costs?
The operational and the installation cost. Is that like the fixed rate ground charges and the pay the vendor?
You go ahead.
Yeah, part of it has to do with on-site, what they agree to.
Both Lake County and Montverde do that. If you're a private citizen, you want to pay, you want to go. They use the current, well, almost commercial, so it's a special fee, but you can pay. I'm not exactly sure.
But is it, for what period of time is that installation cost that you put in your bid available to the public?
It is, as long as our contract is active with them.
Okay, so I think the way we bid it out, it was for a 12-month or 2-year period. So it would have to be within that, but by December of 2026.
I just meant as opposed to, I think it's that system that you can't septic, so it's house.
Right.
Especially around the
But one more question for you, sir. If, I don't know, if we had 1,000 people in town that decided, oh yeah, I want to jump on this, would we get a bulk rate discount if we could get that many people to sign up at once?
You get 1,000 people sign up.
That's just an arbitrary number. I don't know.
They would have 1,000 houses.
Getting a minute ground that fast would be tough, so, yeah, I mean, at some point, the more you get.
That's what I'm angling at, yeah, okay.
And generally what happens is the more, Paul and I were talking about this the other day, the more clustered they are, when people see them going in, it tends to spur people.
Yeah.
In a pocket, the first rate, they have 30 sign up in the first month. Profit. So, but if they're scattered out, it doesn't really work. Neighbors see neighbors getting in, and ask questions.
Well, there'll be certain people that, obviously our 1 million something will cover, but then for those who aren't actually covered in that first initial cost.
You are incredibly proficient in grant money, and there is grant money every year being assigned just for these types of
We have senior grant writers right over there.
How many connected under the Lake County program?
There's 107 in the system right now. There's almost 40 in the ground running. There is another 15 approved for installation and processing.
Is that under the grant funding, or is that private developers?
That's grant funding. They have one private project going right now, private company. Did exactly what he's talking about, paid per unit and stuff.
Okay.
But that is all grant money there. There are multiple developers engaged in different parts of the county. Commercial's a little tricky. You have to design for what the business is. So it's an office, it's just like a residential unit. If it's a restaurant, then you get into what kind of food, how many cooks, how many people, how many bathrooms, dishwashers.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Everybody ready for a motion?
I don't know. You guys ready to vote on this contract?
Are we going to come back for a special meeting to do the contract?
That was
part?
going to be part of the motion. Part of the motion is that we would approve 2024-152, and we would also approve the final numbers this month.
The final contract.
Final contract.
We'll review the final contract before.
How long you think that'll take, Anita, to have it back?
No pressure.
Well, obviously, we have a very short window of time, so it's been on our calendars to work on once we had your direction. So,
Is that
as soon
clear
as we
enough, this
can.
motion?
So essentially, you're, instead of approving the resolution, you would just be approving the award to on-site and directing the town manager to work on a contract to bring back to the council.
Yes, that's it. That's what you did, right?
Well, I'm not so sure that it's more of a, we just want to review it. If we can't review it without approving it at this point,
No, because it hasn't been written.
Well, we have to agree with it.
well, you can always disagree later. Anita? You know what I'm saying?
Well, as I understand what the council direction seems to be, at least I'm hearing it from two, that you want to see the final contract
We
and
do.
approve the final contract and vote on it.
All right, let's go with it.
So the motion would be to award the bid to on-site and direct the town manager to work on a contract to bring back before the council for consideration.
That's my motion.
For what she just, that's it, yeah.
That's
And
my
I'll
motion.
second it.
What she just said.
I need a second.
Second.
Yep, there you go.
Got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on, get this through for 2024-153, if you would, please, Anita.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Lake County, Florida, approving the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Planning, Design, and Construction Loan Agreement, DW 351340, between the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the Town of Montverde, Florida, authorizing execution of the loan agreement, directing the town manager, and providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Alrighty, so this is the $12.970 million. And this is the money for the water tower and all. So there's really not much to think about. Does anybody want to talk about it? Do we want $12,970,000? No.
No.
No. So, I'll open it up to the public. You guys want to talk about it? You want $12,970,000 to work on our water system?
Gotta be forgiven.
On page 20,
20?
Are those doable, 3, 4, 5, 6 for design schedules, May 26, May 2026, those dates and so forth? I know we're and it talks about completion on the 28th.
At the end of the day, that we don't have an option. That was given to us that says
Right.
it must be completed, and they've been very clear
So that's
the
what- I know that's-
likelihood of extensions on this type of money.
So in other words,
That's-
no,
yeah.
if there's a no, then we don't get the money.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what Paul
so
was
there
talking
goes,
about.
There
That's
goes
what you were
Christmas next year.
Yeah, well, that's what you were talking about. That's what you were talking about, the dates we have to meet these
Yeah.
things, and, right, that's what I wanted to make sure everybody's aware of, that these are chiseled, stamped, we have no
And
fudge
those are
factor
gonna
on them.
be the same dates that we're gonna have for the 19,
Right.
or excuse me, the,
So-
the $19 million for the storm, so
Right.
literally we're gonna have a lot of money going
We got $31 million to spend in 2 years.
2 years.
No, you gotta start spending it by May 15th,
and one
2026, and July 2025, yeah, so.
But you
yeah.
got a new water clerk.
I do kind of utility clerk, thank you.
All righty, that's more or less what it comes down to. Do you want the $12,970,000 so we could give it best shot we got to spend it all?
Best shot.
I make a motion, we accept 2024-153.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it.
They lost their win.
Let's see where we're going next. I don't have anything else. Anybody want to talk about anything? Okay, I'll bring back to council. You want to?
Yep, wanna talk about something real quick?
Let me up.
Oh, go ahead.
Come on, Aaron. Congratulations, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you very much. With $31 million in basically 2 years to do it, we think about hiring a professional project manager to manage this, because that's going to be all for all of you, in addition to everything else we have to do.
Yeah.
That's something to consider, that I would be doing this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a project manager included in the funds from the engineering company. Yep.
You're not busy, are you, John? All righty, so bring it back to council. What were you going to say?
Just be safe, have a great Christmas. Some of you won't be here, some of you will be here for probably our special meeting, but just want to say it's been a great year. I feel honored to sit on council, to be your representative. Hopefully, we will represent you better as discussed next year coming up. So that's my wish list for January 1st. So, but you guys have been great to work with. Nobody's been tarred and feathered yet, so we're happy about that. So I see those smirks back there. That's all right. So anyway, but I just wanted to say we've at least my point of view is that we've heard you, we've listened. We're trying to do our best to listen to you and go from there. I personally don't think anybody has deceptively tried to pull the wool over you, bamboozle you, or anything like that. But I think the heart of our council has been great. Our mayor has done a great job this year, and we hope to be back next year to pick up where we left off. So that's all I had to say.
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas to you, Alan.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you, sir.
Merry Christmas. We'll see everybody in a few days anyhow. Everybody come to the dinner. Friday.
Oh, yes.
Mount Dora. Always.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Then you are welcome to sit in here if you like. No, I hang out. I mean, I don't wanna.
I didn't do it.
Oh, yeah, I need that. I only need that when I fall down.